Ah, Hot Wheels. You know, the toy car company. They've been around since the 1960s. They made these. Hot Wheels isn't the sort of brand I'd usually talk about when it comes to this channel, considering, you know, I cover animated movies. And usually, they just make tiny automobiles speed along flimsy orange tracks of plastic. But today we're talking about Hot Wheels because they at one point, or a few times actually, invaded our territory. Today we're covering the very first feature-length Hot Wheels animated film, Hot Wheels World Race. It's a high-octane film that doesn't try to hide the fact that it's fundamentally just a giant ad for the Hot Wheels toys. Kinda just like the Transformers movies. I mean, it makes sense. It's probably the only reason anyone would greenlight a Hot Wheels movie anyway. But what is this movie like? Is it able to do anything interesting with the premise that it has? Or will it all fall totally flat? You've already seen a shuffling of some of the footage, and it is a feast for the eyes, to be sure. So the movie begins with these overly techno title cards just sliding in there. A very dated early 2000s kind of thing. We are in the year 2002 today. And then, bam, the title card. Hot Wheels Highway 35 World Race. What a mouthful of a title. And I think just the visuals of this logo alone really set the tone for this movie, you know? Interesting. Kinda cool, very early 2000s, woof as well. All coming together as we're greeted with some engine sounds as the title card gives way to the perspective of a camera. We're seeing the view of a car as it tries to navigate what seems to be one of those flimsy orange Hot Wheels tracks, literally, but on a volcanic, Mars-like planet. Because when I think of Hot Wheels, I think of Mars. And what do you know, the very thing this car is trying to do is succeed a loop-de-loop. Honestly, I guess that's exactly what you want to see out of a Hot Wheels adaptation. Orange track, loop-de-loop, and maybe a booster pack somewhere in there. But what do you know, at least in this prologue, the car falls off the track and unceremoniously explodes. Cut to static as the camera pulls back to see an angry-looking white-haired scientist dude who angstily stares at their screen.
I don't know why we keep failing.
This here is Dr. Tesla. Yeah, I know, terrible name nowadays, eh? No relation to the big guy. Though the Tesla car company was founded the same year as this film's release. Not that it was actually founded by Elon back then. And this doctor dude is lamenting that he's created the best cars ever made, but still keeps failing. Just for his little robot guy to pop in from behind him with some advice.
Maybe you should build a new kind of driver.
Uh-oh, maybe this is really the Tesla from our world. But no, instead, what this doctor's going to end up doing to get their new driver is picking a 16-year-old kid who doesn't even have their driver's license at the time of this scene. Meet Vert Wheeler. Yes, that's really his name, you get it? He's the car movie guy's name is Wheeler. Wow. We first see him and his friend Alec on the half-pipe doing some skateboarding tricks. And I gotta say, there's actually some nice direction in here. Like, I like him being silhouetted by the sun and everything. Too bad the actual music is just super bland surf rock, you know, and the art style in general is kinda ugly. Like, I like the cell shading that it's kind of got going for it, but still, not the worst style I've seen in a similarly low-budgeted animated film. Not by a long shot. But it is, you know, a refined taste.
Bummer.
Oh, perfect. And that's the kind of dialogue we're going to be getting today, huh? Anyway, Alec loses his balance and falls over. Vert teases him a little bit, and he tells Vert that they should get to be a team together. But of course, Vert decides he'd rather not be on a team, because yes, he's going to establish his rather tropey archetype.
I'm a team of one.
Wow, he's so cool.
Next time you want to lose, try surfing. Water's a lot softer.
Gosh, that is certainly some facial animation. I can't tell if I like it or not. Anyway, what you're going to very quickly discover throughout every single scene in this movie is that there's this particular transition choice. Now that is certainly one of the transitions of all time. I also can't tell if I really dig it or not. It's trying so hard to be cool, but it ends up being so over the top and goofy, which I guess is kind of a fundamental part of the Hot Wheels brand. Either way, it's certainly a choice. Get used to it. So Vert skates home and chats with his dad, who is outside loading up the boot of their car. Well, kind of. He's more just standing there with the car already loaded while he does an idle animation until his son talks to him.
What's up, Dad?
My squadron's shipping out.
Ah, so Vert's dad is a military man. I wonder if Vert's gonna have a strong reaction to the news that his dad's being deployed.
But you were gonna take me to get my driver's license.
Wow, nice one. Vert's dad understandably apologizes that he has to go, especially on Vert's birthday that apparently it is, but he tries imparting a lesson about teamwork to his son. But Vert has a rather one-track mind of it all.
You said as soon as I was 16 I could drive the car.
Probably should have begun your day with that present then, rather than going off to skateboard first and come back in the afternoon. Anyway, after our protagonist so far doesn't have a car or the ability to drive it, he comes out of the car driving lesson place. I don't drive, I don't know. After getting a perfect score on the driving and written tests. So then Vert earns his license and then Hot Wheels transitions home where a bright blue vehicle is already pulled up in his garage.
Check it out.
This is literally a Hot Wheels car. Not like in the style of one. It's literally branded on the top with Hot Wheels Highway 35. And doesn't look like any other vehicle you'll ever see in universe. Logically, a logical, normal universe. And after simply getting his license and a good score twice, no experience or showcasing ability, on a video screen inside, Dr. Tesla's there with the news.
You have been chosen to take part in the world race.
Sure, getting a perfect score is kinda rare, maybe, but that just means you're good at normal road safety, not really racing. The writers had to know that, right? Oh well, I guess the kids wouldn't know the difference. It's the idea that anyone can drive, anyone can race. And it gets us to our plot beats a whole lot faster. This movie is an hour and 45 minutes long. It's kind of slow, but this beginning section, the first 3 scenes are in the first 3 minutes. Like, it's fast to start. As we now jump cut to drivers all across the world as Tesla monologues. And these cars, they're not at all standardized, are they? Super unfair to a real race, to be honest, but good for Hot Wheels merchandising. Tesla says that some of the racers come from the highest levels of professional racing, whilst others have talents that have yet to be discovered. Which is cool and all, but how on earth did he find these people? How did he find Vert?
I'm looking for the greatest driver in the world.
And naturally, Vert is going to trust a stranger randomly on his video screen in a car that's not his but now is outside his house while his father is away, and willing to drive it right into a cube in the middle of the desert somewhere, I guess. Absolutely chock full loaded with actual Hot Wheels logo branding slapped all over it.
Welcome to the Handler Proving Ground.
You gotta love how Tesla just looks like some sort of boomer granddad trying to FaceTime his kids right up against the camera. But despite the terrible angle on his face here, it's clear the creators really want Peter Tesla to be cool.
Ooh.
Man, the entire rest of the cast are so cool that they think it's uncool for you to say cool. Anyway, we now get a big ol' exposition dump about these races, where whoever wins will be declared the fastest racer in the world and also receive $5 million. We get a small chance to actually meet the other racing characters who are all equally trying to push their coolness slider up to 11 in a way that kind of makes them all the same.
What would you do if you had that kind of money?
I do.
You know, it doesn't really work, but it is fun. Everyone's a bit of an archetype. And it's not just the racers, it's the cars too, as each of them come with a whole arsenal of tools, equipments, and button presses that, to be honest, are all just kind of from Speed Racer. I think Speed Racer is going to be a recurring reference I'm going to make because it's the most cartoony, slapstick kind of racing cartoon you can really compare with. And practically every item that these cars do comes from Speed Racer. I mean, which is older, Speed Racer or Hot Wheels? Technically Hot Wheels, but I don't think they exactly had saw blades back then. Still, it is a lot of fun, and this kind of car combat logic is right up my street. I love that Speed Racer movie. You know, the crazy live action one. And similarly, you can always find the punchline that whenever they do a boost, they literally have Hot Wheels. Though it is a little strange, not every car can do everything. They each do something different apart from the boosting. It kind of seems a little unfair, you know? Wouldn't it just make sense to outfit them for all of their terrain that you're going to anyway? We're gonna later see a volcano track where only one type of car can handle the volcano. Why? It's to sell cars of different types, that's why. Vert has a Wave Ripper car, which means he can do this. Somehow, he survives that fall. And he's not the only driver with a Wave Ripper. Lonnie here does too, because she doesn't get her own classification. Offers to team up with him, to which he repeats once again.
Forget it, Lonnie. I'm a team of one.
I don't think we really knew her name before this, so we've also kind of time skipped to when everyone knows each other. What a shame. Don't expect a lot of character development in this movie. But now we get to see the cars in action, and I'll be honest, their animation looks way worse than the animation of the drivers. Kind of impressive. Cars are meant to be easier. I'm not exactly sure why, either. There's just something sort of blocky and stilted about it. But the dialogue is consistent, if nothing else.
Somebody told me you skied down Mount Everest once.
Twice.
Again, they're really trying to make everything a cold one-liner. The problem is it doesn't work most of the time. Anyway, now that we've had a brief pause to race, we're gonna go right back into the exposition, as there's a lot more to explain with this whole Highway 35 business. In actuality, this Highway 35 track is older than human history, built by ancient aliens called the Accelerons, and one more Hot Wheels transition later, we learn that if you drive fast enough on Highway 35, you can go through a portal to get to the real track that's placed in a different dimension. I mean, I know that toy adaptations are kind of weird nowadays, but what is this? 483 kilometers per hour, and now you're in Dimension X? It's crazy, but at the same time, I kind of like it. It's very Back to the Future logic, you know? Feels very Back to the Future 3 coded, especially. And I have everyone on the same pace. You can do a lot of fun things with it. And so, off they pop. Taking in the scenery once they drive through the portal, the racers keep up the pace.
Forget the rocks, check out that sky.
And I gotta say, I'm surprised no one's freaking out more. Watching these experimental cars now suddenly moving on these tight Hot Wheels tracks, high up in the sky with practically no guardrails, no part of this feels anywhere remotely safe suddenly. Oh well, I'm sure it won't be a problem as long as the drivers are careful.
Hey, what, Kurt?
Oh, well, it's very lucky. Every time they do crash in this universe, they crash right as soon as some rocks are touching the tracks that they can land on.
Man, these cars can really take punishments.
But then, one Hot Wheels transition later, we come to that thing from the start again. What do you know? It's that giant...
This is what I call a loop.
Yeah, thanks, Banji. I couldn't tell. So now, with this being the very first hurdle of the movie, how do you handle an oversized loop-de-loop in a racetrack? Everyone else stops early, only for Vert to show off his moves.
Didn't you ever grind a half-pipe?
Using his car like a skateboard instead as he half-pipes back and forth to gain momentum, that then gives him the speed and the jump as well, in order to fly over a lava river. Again, we're in Mars now, and honestly, I kinda like that. We're gonna start seeing some genuinely interesting applications of the car combat mechanics of this world. How they managed to work out a 16-year-old who just passed his test could do it, I have no idea, but still.
No skateboard tricks now, kid.
And so the race continues on, as a new jet black car appears, windows tinted red, driver fully masked. It's our villain of the story, as he sets up an explosion, creating a giant lava hazard in this volcano, but Vert surfs it with his car?
Shoot the curl.
Sure. What? Okay. God, this whole thing really is like a late 90s, early noughties extreme sports project aimed at kids. You know, this kind of stuff. This works for him, by the way. Just accept it, you know, whatever. It's one of those movies. Unfortunately, it's the very next step that's exceedingly illogical and kind of frustrating.
He can do it, I can.
Yeah, they're gonna be doing this. We now have our only female character being the damsel in distress because she didn't realize that she has a completely different car classification that can handle lava. Everyone has an ego problem, and this character's not going to really progress further than this in rankings. But what is a very nice turn of events is though we've clearly had this tarot guy who's kind of the main rival to our protagonist Vert, easily kind of being that more villainous character, actually chooses to turn back and save her, and Vert is the one that hesitates to join later, bringing them together to team up in order to save her life. And the actual method for saving her is pretty cool too, with them both using a grappling hook, and then for her to attach to one as they let go, and it does a flip, jump, backflip to fling her back upwards. Like, that's crazy choreography in writing. The kind of thing live action wouldn't be able to do for a long time, and genuinely is some good, actionable piece in finally a medium that could accurately-ish portray it. It even ends on a wholesome little note with the guy you think's gonna be the dick the whole time through.
That was good driving. For a kid.
A friendship bonds out of these circumstances, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm eating it up. Anyway, they all get out on the other side of the forest, and hey, they're in a wooded area now?
Did I win?
Turns out this is only one leg of the race, and one Hot Wheels transition later, and Dr. Tesla's Cube headquarters has shown up in the forest. No clue how, or where this forest even is, or how long it's been. Vert basically ran away from home in a strange vehicle, right? Like, how's the missing person report coming along? Does he have a mother? What happened there? But now that the first race is done, Tesla announces to the drivers that they will now race as teams. No reason is explicitly given for this. I assume it's because his first experiment with a new kind of driver worked, and so he wanted more of them? But then he just lets the drivers pick 6 people of their own for their team. So it's not like he found any more new competent drivers, he just networked, I guess.
5 million for every member of the winning team.
Oh yeah, and remember how Lonnie didn't finish the last race? That means she doesn't get to be a team leader at all. Conveniently, the only female racer doesn't get to be one. But it's okay, she had the same kind of car as Vert, so she naturally fits onto his team. Seems kind of preordained with her and Vert being the only 2 starting racers with the same type of car. But hey, this is a 2002 movie, but the film does its best to just brush past these issues and bury it under its cool aesthetic. But I can't help but feel like this could be a real diamond in the rough of a movie with just a little bit more internal consistency and maybe a few less one-liners. It's clearly low-budget, TV quality animation, but I think the stylization is good enough, and there is some good in here so far. Though we're also going to hear a lot of lines repeated again, as if we've just had a commercial break 8 minutes ago. I'll be skipping over it, but they mention $5 million many times. But with another pause from the racing, we've skipped over a whole nother race of one of the teams practicing on the tracks when they weren't supposed to, don't worry about it. We now get to see a little bit more of the characters again, as other drivers pull up to join their teams. Vert gets his buddy Alec to join the team, so he wasn't just a throwaway character from the start of the movie. But there's also the introduction of the little brother Marky to the main douchebag who won the first race, Kurt Wilde.
Who's driving my car? Hey, bro, nice wheels.
It's a super fun character introduction, but I can't quite figure out why he's here or why it's happening, because Kurt definitely didn't invite him. I guess he was just a clairvoyant, annoying little brother. At the very least, it's nice to see 2 characters that actually have a relationship to bounce off of, as opposed to the same idea but in a different vessel. And it's time for another Dr. Tesla exposition dump, because apparently alternate dimensions is not enough to adapt a Hot Wheels movie. Now we've got the big MacGuffin of the film, an ancient item called the Wheel of Power that will be found at the end of Highway 35.
I believe it will be the greatest source of energy.
Alright, okay. Cool. Plastic car movie, please. Oh, and also that jet black driver from before is named Z36, talking to a hologram of his boss who also wants them to find the Wheel of Power. Ominous, but the stakes are coming together. Faintly. Again, I can't not see the parallels to Speed Racer, but at least in that movie, the guy's good. And we're now on to the next leg of the race. What else is there to adapt in the world of Hot Wheels toy pieces? Well, now it's purple tracks. Shortcuts. Wow. To be fair, I'm surprised they managed to make the movie this long so far, so all the power to them. Anyway, some teams notice the shortcuts, others don't. Some follow those that took the shortcuts, some don't. Only for Z36 to destroy a bridge on said purple track shortcut, forcing them to push ahead, which achieves something. As we maybe get to the most memorable scene of this movie to me.
What's that up ahead, Banshee? We just hit a red light.
This giant spinning wheel powered by sheer anxiety. Like, nice. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, it's another Hot Wheels accessory. What do you know? And with no opportunity to go back, in the middle of a heated race, several drivers step out of their cars to just stare at the massive roadblock. This is going to happen a lot. They race very slowly, actually. There's a lot of stops. But you know what? Don't worry about it.
You ever tried something like this?
Since the last time I played miniature golf.
Anyway, you know how to beat this wheel. You've got to time it, right? It's one of the rare times that Lonnie actually speaks up and contributes something good to the plot, as she manages to make her computer work out the timing for them.
The computer gives you a green light.
But the response from the boys is to then just question her sanity, because this is a hard concept for them to understand.
Is she loco or what?
You know what, whatever, and so they make the jump a few times. This, to me, wasn't very exciting. You know, they're gonna get it fine, and like, you know, it's timed already for them. So thankfully, Z36 shows up and fires an extra shot that damages the wheel, so it really actually goes into action. The wheel spins faster, the computers can't tell the time, they just have to wing it. And so they do. Right before it explodes, in low poly. Both an interesting limitation of the animation, I would assume, and also just infers they should have waited before taking the jump. But with that, the race is over as the front runners win, and Z36 is left hesitating about future prospects.
You will win the race. You have to eliminate the other drivers.
Yeah, because that's normal, right? As we once again have some downtime before the next race, but we're still not going to see too much character development. It's very much a TV movie, as we said, so people just run with their tropes. You've got Katano helping Lonnie work on her car, which I think is meant to be some kind of innuendo, judging by the smiles afterwards. And Vert uses the time to make some of the ugliest faces imaginable, which Kurt watches him do in his binoculars. Why did they name one of the characters Vert and another one Kurt? Why are you doing this to me? As we then get some time with Kadeem here. He's meditating while he can, as he's got a bit of a stereotype archetype of his own.
Will you let the city of your fathers become a ruin?
Because you see, he sees the phantom of a blind wise man he used to know, who confronts him and tells him that he shouldn't be here racing, but that his people need him.
I need to win this race.
His plans with prize money being pushed aside to mention that there's danger on the road he travels, it feels very much like an echo of the scene from Lion King, where Simba sees Mufasa in the sky. And like, I can really enjoy this scene, but it also feels so out of nowhere. Why isn't this guy the protagonist, you know, if he's so important? Kadeem asks the man how he can recognize the danger he is to face, to which the old man just comes back with probably one of the coldest lines in this movie. Why?
How should I know? I'm blind.
Anyway, we're blasted right to the start of the next race now, and it's all deserty and sandy this time.
No traction.
Once again, just like the Volcano car last time, now some cars have a very obvious advantage, for some reason.
Dune rats, switch to sand tires.
Oh, and every single person has to get a one-liner in order to activate their abilities, by the way.
Let's make tracks.
And as for Vert's problem solving, he chooses to use the boosters that allow his cars to jump to physically just fly over the sand. They argue it by saying that a dune's nothing but a big wave of sand, so I guess they're surfing it? It's just flying, my dude.
A dune's nothing but a big wave of sand.
All the while, other cars are just left in the dust. What happens to those who can't progress, by the way? Are they just lost in that dimension for all of time? So Kadeem now takes the lead as our protagonist too for a little bit, then suddenly stops, leading to probably the funniest misdirect in this movie, as he proclaims that the greatest danger lies on the road he travels, only to slow reveal, you'll never guess. What? I have so many questions. Why is there a T-Rex statue here now?
Statue built by the Accelerons.
Oh, okay, right. So I guess it's just to infer that the ancient civilization they came from was around at the same time as the dinosaurs? Maybe? Alright. Okay, this is the next puzzle anyway. Can I get this accessory in my Hot Wheels toys? The T-Rex statue leads to one giant ramp, but you just can't get enough speed.
Did you make it, Juvo? Guess not.
So what is the solution? Kadeem comes up with it, proving he's really one of the best drivers. He uses the boost to boost up the ramp enough to make the jump. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite as impactful as the spinning fan blades before now, is it? But sure. Meanwhile, a bunch of the other racers inexplicably made it to the dyno, probably all using Kurt's tow cable trick. It's honestly hard to track who is at what position relative to each other at any point. Like, where are the wave rippers? Understanding who is where feels essential for a racing movie, you know? But that spatial awareness just isn't here through all of this movie. Just follow along as best as you can. Anyway, Kadeem is now far ahead of everyone else, finding his way to some other structures, this time much more fitting with ancient alien pyramids, and on top of it, he spots something.
Has to be the wheel of power.
Now, you know, this is a fine beat enough, but I can't help but notice just how many times every other character has to say,
That must be the wheel.
You know, I'm starting to get the feeling maybe this the wheel of power. But anyway, we get a whole beat of this thing. He races around some looping Hot Wheels tracks. He places this thing on the back of his car. The masked rider shows up and they actually have a little bit of a fight using the capabilities of their car, which is pretty cool. And I like actually that there's a little bit of fight choreography in there and that Kadeem wins. Genuinely, I think I really like the choreography and ideas behind the mechanics of this movie. I think I just like car combat, man. It honestly is in moments like this where I love the style and animation for this project. It's just put next to some clearly half thought through decisions and plot and dialogue, which really is what holds this movie back from being a peerless hidden gem. I sure hope the sequels that are in fact a thing don't end up having diminishing returns and only get less and less budgeted and aesthetically pleasing. Could you imagine? Even still, within this fight, we then have the reveal of just who this masked rider is.
Kurt Wilde?
Hey there, thank you for making it to the halfway mark of this video. Come subscribe if you haven't already for more Hot Wheels content, because maybe it's time to address the elephant in the room midway through. This movie is only the first part of a larger series. And while the art style of this one was sometimes passable and sometimes not, its sequel got a lot, shall we say edgier?
I was driving before I could drive.
What does that even mean?
In fact, I'd go so far as to say it's downright hideous. I mean, just look at what they did to Marky.
Marky? No.
It's why this one's only debatably marked as terrible, but I would like to cover this more in the future, and they definitely get more terrible from here. But that's a story for a different day. Let's get back to the second half of this one first.
Kurt Wilde?
And I gotta admit, the way this reveal is done is great, with the comic panels showing Kurt's face on the ground, as well as Kadeem's reaction. And it was well foreshadowed as well. He was using the binoculars earlier in one of the quiet driver scenes, and I genuinely kind of didn't expect it because I thought it was gonna somehow be Vert's dad. I didn't actually notice that Kurt wasn't around in the races, because I couldn't tell the position of anybody in the races anyway. But there are as well a few other problems when you're not as tunnel visioned as me as to Kurt being the twist villain. I mean, first and foremost, his car is kind of obviously a reskinned version of his real car. The drivers are all pretty clearly able to track each other based on teams, as shown earlier, so I'm sure they would have been able to tell and figure out what team the traitor was on. Or in the case of Kurt's team, they'd be able to figure out that their team leader keeps going missing. And there are other details that just don't quite add up either. Like, why does he think he won after the first leg if he knows about the Wheel of Power? And I've got all sorts of other nitpicks too, like Kurt's boss said his car was given to him by her clip company, but Tesla gave every driver their car. Is Tesla able to track his own car accurately? I would assume so, since he could see through his AI driver at the start. If that's the case, wouldn't he know something was up with Kurt's? If the company gave it to the wrong driver, shouldn't Tesla know about one of the cars being modified? His team isn't in on it, but he gets to pick his team, so why doesn't he pick a team of drivers that would be loyal to his plan? Is it so they won't snitch? But then he goes missing anyway, which would probably raise suspicions when there's a masked driver on the field that drives an identical car. Didn't Tesla run a background check on these drivers? It's also a little bit lame to have your most villainous rival also the most villainous villain. And also I saw Speed Racer. Spoilers, the masked driver is an older brother. You know, whatever. Maybe I'm missing something here. And in fairness, there are a few things I do actually quite like about this twist. One little detail I like is that when his brother is a target, that makes him hesitate. And I honestly really do like the idea of a twist villain. And I do think he could have been strong as one. It's kind of just poorly thought through though. Maybe with a few more drafts, refining the script, and a bigger budget, this could have been genuinely excellent. Or make it the little brother, you know, he was faking being bad at driving. But unfortunately, I kind of have to call this reveal as it is, half-baked. The closest we'll get to a character developing, it's alright. Anyway, back to the plot and the other characters. Vert just magically knew it wasn't the Wheel of Power.
That's not the wheel.
A conclusion he comes to despite never actually seeing the Wheel of Power, and simply on the logic that
Taro and Banji aren't going after it.
sure, okay, whatever. Vert magically has an answer for everything because he's the blanket protagonist who's ultimately cool at everything and succeeds every time. It's a TV movie. And as for the other drivers actually in first place,
Hey Taro, I'm gonna pass you.
riveting. But nonetheless, they fling through the portal, tied, coming out in a grassy clearing on the other side, and the texture work and modeling in this clearing is a little basic. What can you do? Low budget. But relevant to the plot, Kadeem's fake Wheel of Power dissolves through the portal, which is actually a really nice world establishment.
It's gone.
But it does beg the question, why was there a fake Wheel of Power to begin with? Like, was it made by the Accelerons as a distraction? Who knows? They don't answer. No time for questions. Instead, Vert gets to learn that Kurt Wilde was in fact a spy, and his response is,
It's pretty wild, even for Kurt.
Anyway, Kadeem has clear regrets about the way the whole thing played out,
I was the one who turned him in.
to which Vert has a very empathetic response.
Looks like some tasty waves down there.
Right. Even still, it's another opportunity for our protagonist and the guy who probably should be our protagonist to bond a little more. Albeit still running with a bit of a stereotype.
My home is far from the ocean. It's hard to find water.
But it's the moment Vert finally starts to consider how others have it.
I guess $5 million could really make a difference.
That is why I drive.
It's nice to finally see one of these characters has a motivation. Now this is touching and all, but with how self-centered Vert is as a basic surfer dude boy, he's probably just considering pulling a Mr. Beast and digging wells in Africa or something if he wins, and then pasting over the video with CGI. Actually, knowing him, he'd probably just use the money to build a bunch of skate parks and call it a day.
Funny, I never thought about what winning means to other people.
I mean, hey, it's not the most bodacious writing, but at least it has a moral. Jokes aside, though, I really do like this interaction. Not only is it a much-needed realization for Vert, so he can finally develop his character, but it is also nice to see some genuine motive behind characters like Kadeem as he carries this weight on his shoulders. And is genuinely interesting stuff coming from the Hot Wheels movie of all things. It's a little tropey and straightforward, and I would have hoped that everyone could be this in-depth in some way, but certainly more than I expected when all I had to base this movie on was ugly-looking screenshots. And so with a pat on the shoulder, Vert walks off as we transition over to Kurt now, driving away.
Nobody following me. Good.
Only for him to be picked up by a comically large magnet from a helicopter. Honestly, I want more cartoony physics like this in the next race. I grew up on the likes of Cell Damage. Slapstick cartoony logic is all the kind of car combat I like to see.
We must talk, Z36.
Anyway, this is meant to be some sort of intimidating the bad guys are slightly falling apart scene, but it also is kind of a scene that falls apart. As she suspends him and his car above the water, he decides to say maybe the dumbest thing you could say as a henchman in this situation.
They know what I've been doing. I'm through working for you.
Only for her to say that he has no choice and that he'll continue to work for them as long as they have a use for him. But it's all kind of unclear because, like, what are Kurt's motives for actually working for her in the first place? And why would she still trust his loyalties at all anymore? It's a little convoluted, and you can kind of extrapolate some answers. It's still quite messy though. Back to Kadeem, and he's once again talking to the old man spirit thing.
I thought I'd found the wheel, but I was wrong.
And I'm genuinely glad to see another slow scene developing a character. It's just kind of funny that it seems to only happen to Kadeem out of the main cast, and he's not even the protagonist. It's making him shape up to be the most enjoyable character to watch out of the lot. Certainly better than Vert.
Cool.
Anyway, Kadeem gets the advice to quit the race and go home. And then the old man goes on to tell Kadeem that he's not real and that he was talking to himself, and then explodes into sunlight, which has to be some of the most interesting stuff in this movie. But also, isn't it a little weird to be dealing with Force ghosts in this sci-fi Hot Wheels movie? Then again, we already have aliens and dinosaurs. I guess I gotta check all the boxes. What an interesting adaptation, to say the least. But with the light of morning, the race continues. This time we have the beats of Mikey disowning his own brother.
Hey, he's no brother to me.
As well as an unmasked Z36 Kurt preparing to enter the portal, now being given a couple of drivers from the Clip organization.
I don't need their help.
I decide what you need.
So now with the bad guy team established, the stakes set, Kurt's other team members, I don't know what happened to them, and all the rest of it, the race starts. As we now end up in an icy Hot Wheels track. With a clear villainous team in this track, now this forces all the teams to start banding together.
Maybe we should all work together.
Using their unique abilities to overcome the next environmental hurdle in all sorts of different ways.
It's too dangerous on your own, Marquis.
And as the tensions of potentially blowing up his younger brother come to manifest, in a surprise twist, Kurt then changes his car's colors back to his team's and he turns on the other Clip drivers. Trying to radio to Marky to get him to stop, but it doesn't work as he's already disowned and distrusted.
Can you hear me?
Nice! Finally, we have some, story beats and character conflicts informing the race's actions. This is the good stuff. It's taken a long time to get here, though. It's like an hour into the movie. But now, as everyone catches up, we've reached a cityscape, so we need a new ability to get through this hurdle.
The eye in the sky can find an alternate route.
Right, so Scorchers can drive through a literal volcano, but the street breed cars? They have Google Maps. Sounds fair to me. Real balanced, Dr. Tesla. It's clearly 2002. This is fantasy back then. And the drama with Kurt and Clip only continue further as he gets out of his car to help his brother.
Get back in your cars.
You go get the wheel of power.
Only to reveal that also the Clip drivers were robots. We really do have it all. Aliens, dinosaurs, robots, ghosts as well. Hot Wheels went mad in 2002. I guess we always had Dr. Tesla's floating robot earlier, but now we have killer robots. And these guys seemingly are incapable of getting the wheel of power themselves, explaining why they needed Kurt, their one only human member.
Celerons built this track for human beings.
And I gotta say, I love the way that these guys move and look. It's genuinely freaky and just well done. And despite their crab walk, they apparently pack a punch. As the brothers finally reunite in the scuffle, asking all the important questions.
Hey, why was that robot thing after you? I thought you were working together.
But thankfully it doesn't end things so quickly and instantly, as the little brother still doesn't fully get on board.
I don't need any help from you.
But it does allow us to get into the real substance of the story and the race, with proper over-the-top drama and again very speed racery, especially in the way it's shot.
But I'm not you. I won't cheat to win!
We get some hints at Kurt having deeper motivations here, but don't expect them to be really explored anymore. And as Marky spins out in this little rivalry, Kurt pops out a little video game emote voice line on his brother.
Nobody beats Kurt Wilde.
Still, it's nice. Finally, 2 more characters are successfully written. A little bit more than they're all the same character, anyway. But now as the action only continues with this flying robo-drone back in action, blocking the way for some of the races with another explosion.
Man, this ice track leaves me cold.
The occasional bad line aside, it is really nice to see how the races are naturally teaming up at this point in the movie.
You can take him, Vert.
It's both a really nice wholesome feeling and feels cohesive as it's leading towards a finale. There are a lot of complaints to have with this movie, but it is well structured. And after Vert finally catches up with the program,
It's a robot.
his sense of morality completely changes with these drivers, since he knows it's not alive in the first place, and so
Let's clip your wings.
he causes a minor explosion. Though the movie is pretty unrelenting in wanting to put these bad one-liners out there. Like now that Vert and Kurt are sparring at the front, you get lines like,
You're pretty good at cheating, Kurt.
"Oh, zinger, you got him, he'll never recover from that one." Anyway, Vert again pulls some skateboard tricks to get ahead. I don't know where he ever learned that he could turn his feet sideways to press 2 pedals to do something, but you know, whatever. Kurt then tries to do the same thing and immediately fails. As you do, I guess. That's that rivalry sorted.
Nice shot. Slingshot.
And as Vert continues along a very long orange Hot Wheels track bridge that does not look like it has enough support, we come to a mysterious new place.
It's a city.
Anyway, good thing this track just seems to be a long straight line because we now know it's established that he doesn't have a GPS for this. Also, what a 2000 city this is. Feels straight out of Spy Kids 3D. And at the center of the city, we see it, the real Wheel of Power. Oh yeah, but not before yet another Hot Wheels transition that we haven't been showing for a while, but I'll show you this one. It's a transition to one of the robots getting up, and then like a Hot Wheels transition back to the city. What a solid 5-second scene. Anyway, back to Vert.
A city built for cars.
Oh, so like a regular American city? That's not super impressive. And so with the stakes of a clip drone right inbound behind him, Vert goes for the grab, full Guy style.
Going vertical.
Reaching out of the window with all sorts of more explosions and the rest of it, before finally grabbing the thing that creates a blast of sunlight, apparently, but brings them back home on Highway 35. The others are all instantly ejected too, landing back in the desert. So I guess the Wheel of Power is the one thing in that world that can be taken out of that world? Why did the last thing dissolve anyway? It's not going to be addressed.
The winner of the world race.
But yes, it's winnings time. Each of the team members do in fact get $1 million. Wow, he's got a printer just for checks? Or was he just holding on to them? Either way, I really love that this dumb little floating robot is able to do that. And what does Vert want to do with his money?
I'd like to buy a used car.
He wants to buy his own racing car.
Will Tesla sell it to me?
No, they're only in the business of selling Cybertrucks now. Sorry.
Each driver may keep car. He has no use for them.
Okay, but those things have to be worth a fortune, right? And they probably aren't road legal either. But with us in the post-racing sequence, everyone has choices for their own directions. Banji suggesting yet another race, Kadeem claiming,
I'm going home. I have things I must do.
but then they learn that something has changed.
Portal will no longer open.
I mean, that seems fair enough. If the goal of the track was to protect the Wheel of Power, without the wheel, there's no need for the track.
No more racing on Highway 35?
But Vert is not having it. He's here for the love of the game, baby. And Tesla has sealed himself off experimenting on said wheel, and so the others all turn against him and ram through his door.
No problem. I can pay for the damages.
To be fair, I'm glad that she'd rather spend money on something plot related, because I shudder to think what the writers would have made her spend $5 million on. But also, what a shame, she just sacrifices her money away. Her motives don't matter. And so the gang burst into Tesla's room, demanding that they've got a problem, and it feels kind of entitled.
We want to race on Highway 35. Why?
Like, Tesla is actually out here trying to solve all of humanity's energy problems as it is an infinite source of power. And he's not doing it to become some evil overlord, he's genuinely just trying to be a scientist. But the drivers instead are just adrenaline junkies. Rich adrenaline junkies that can't get their dopamine hit if they're not in another dimension. Okay. All the while, Kurt has finally been fired, because though only a human driver could bring the wheel to this world,
it belongs to anyone with the power to take it.
Seriously, how did he end up working for her anyway? She's clearly evil, and a robot, right?
Goodbye, Kurt Wilde. It was a pleasure using you.
I would have loved to have learned anything at all about Kurt's real motives. He seemed to believe that Glorum here had a reason for keeping the wheel from Tesla with his whole "I'm doing what I think is right" thing. But nothing. We get nothing. What a shame. A racing movie that isn't about the racers. Anyway, Tesla's putting up a little bit of a political fight, explaining more about the infinite energy of the Wheel of Power and how he's
Still only tapped a fraction of its power.
And then right on cue, the wheel immediately surges with too much power.
Tesla must have forgot to pay the light bill.
Ugh, this animation. Sometimes it looks real clean, other times not so much. So as for the power outage,
Think I just blew every fuse in North America.
okay, so like, I have some problems with a lot of the writing of the characterizations in this movie, but Dr. Tesla is not actually one of them. He really steals, like, every scene he's in. I think he's well acted and has consistently charming writing. and now clear motivations too. He's not even actually a twist villain like I thought he'd be, as much as they are antagonizing him now. Plus, he contrasts well against the racers in his employ. He's a benevolent knower rather than a doer. So I genuinely felt something when he noticed what his overreach did.
Gig!
Because next, Dr. Tesla looks over the short-outed corpse of his robot friend and says,
What have I done?
man, even the animation on him here is good. Like, look at his eyes. This movie leaps back and forth between some of the ugliest facial animation to stuff that is genuinely competent.
Must have destroyed Gig's circuits.
Quick, look inside his body in case he's got any more $5 million checks in him. But it's from this beat that he finally turns around, for better or worse. Like Icarus, Tesla is taught a lesson about flying too close to the sun.
You know more about the wheel, but you can't control its power.
But I really wish this line had come from someone like Kurt instead of Vert. I know Kurt is not here, but Vert's motivations right now for wanting the wheel returned feel very selfish, and it could have been a great place for the turncoat to arrive and give some of his own motivations in this debate. But regardless, Tesla is still a scene stealer here.
I want to use the wheel to benefit humanity.
It's funny because the film has had Tesla's role basically be the car benefactor guy, but I feel way more for him than the other characters.
It's too dangerous to have that much power in one person's hands.
Is this commentary about nuclear power? And while some of the shots with him are a little over the top,
Too dangerous.
they generally get across who Tesla really is, an altruist.
I'm going to restore power to the complex. I don't like to make decisions in the dark.
It's really the little things with him that go a long way. Anyway, there's an evil robot army outside now, because of course, we can't sit on moral choices forever. We just have to get back into the action, even though this slower dialogue scene has been particularly substantial. I like when the racing movie isn't racing. But we need to get the plot back on the road for the last 10 minutes, so...
You have 3 minutes to hand over the wheel of power.
So with it all coming together, Tesla consults the ancient inscriptions, of course.
Wisdom is a circle. You must give back.
So he and the drivers theorize this means they can put the wheel back, and with 2 minutes remaining, a group of drivers, including Taro, Kadeem, Banji, and his Wave Ripper team, agree to help Vert and pull Frodo and take the ring back to Mordor. And side note, I just find that Kadeem's line here to be a hilarious vocal take.
We're all on the same team now, right, Kadeem? Ride the wind!
So the drones make their attack and we see the Scorchers shove a path through with a wicked smile across Taro's face. Some of the drivers get their cars knocked out and Galorum locks in on Vert, who has the wheel, with Vert using his teamwork with Taro to take down the helicopter, and that's fun. They both learn how to work together. It's surface level stuff, but it's nice to see, and a helicopter conflict. So after causing a minor helicopter crash,
Amateurs.
they boost back to Highway 35, powered by the wheel, only for Galora to emerge from the copter completely fine. And what's with her voice?
Follow them through the portal.
It's almost like,
You don't understand, do you?
oh my god, she was a robot the whole time. I never saw that coming. It's not like her eyes were giantly glowing earlier in a completely unhuman way. And yeah, that robot texture now on her eye, it looks bad. Well, Kurt is shocked, at least. And he immediately runs off. He saw the glowing eyes earlier. Did he not have questions then? Did he think she was in the Avatar state or something? And the rest of the drivers are back in the city and again working together. Wow. And this time the city is very much not linear now, with a ton of branching paths for them to split up through.
Some people just can't drive.
Yeah, but the street breed cars, though, they can. You know, they have GPS. Vert then, of course, has the main protagonist drama. He gets flipped onto a separate road by a drone and keeps flipping from section to section of the tracks. His car then stalls and a drone is out to get him. But then, out of nowhere,
Look out, Vert!
Kurt's come in to help them too. Finally understanding what he should have realized way earlier when he was asked to kill people. He was on the wrong side all along.
Pop the clutch, Surf Rat, and we'll get you going.
So he pulls a Lightning McQueen and pushes Vert along to get him started back up. I guess that's the generic plot beat for racing car movies, huh? Because this is before Cars 1.
I just took the wrong road for a while.
And so they take off, the hero-anti-hero duo speeding along together to return the wheel. I feel like Vert has a stronger rivalry with Soto, not Kurt, but you know, fine. Those two kind of blur the lines anyway. They're kind of the same archetype. An evil robot queen Galorum shows up for this final confrontation, now in a flying car of her own. There's some more actions as our heroes destroy some drones and all that, and Galorum starts lasering Vert until... Galorum! After that crash, he's gotta be concussed, right? This may be cartoon physics, but I don't think the characters are cartoons. Still, Vert manages to return the wheel and the city is repowered.
Like a day at the beach.
The drones leave Galorum in tow as well, and everyone gets to take a look at the city.
It's beautiful.
And this realization unfortunately leads to this exchange.
Cool. It's hot. Hot Wheel City.
I am at a loss for just how cheesy and tacked on that line is. As if the logos on the base, the Hot Wheels cars, the Hot Wheels tracks, and of course the Hot Wheels transitions didn't tell us what IP we were watching. So now that we're at our true ending, Vert reaches the end of his character arc with probably the obvious conclusion, since it's the only other motive we've heard about in this movie.
I know money can't solve all the problems, but it probably wouldn't hurt.
Yes, Vert just gives Kadeem the $5 million check. I guess Dr. Tesla's altruism rubbed off on him.
But this is your money for winning.
Vert says the people in Kadeem City need this more than he does. You know, the classic. Finishing his character arc from selfish surfer dude to donating $5 million to charity. It's simple, but you'll love to see it.
My people will not forget. I will not forget.
And then Vert fully goes down to the end of his enlightened state with...
I need to get in touch with my dad.
Oh yeah! Remember that guy from the start of the movie? I thought he'd be relevant at any point. His sole existence was there to make me not fully notice the twist villain. I was too deep in my own theory. But before he goes home, everyone in the main cast gets their own little one-liner, of course. And as Vert pulls into the base, surprise, surprise...
Came home and found a message about driving in a race.
And as Vert is about to go and explain himself, his dad cuts him off with...
I know all about it. These two told me everything.
Oh, and hey, Gig lives! That's... kind of a shame. It kind of would have been really interesting to see some consequences in this. You know, someone dies. I mean, I guess several drivers did get left behind in the dimension.
Did you make it, Juvo? Guess not.
But otherwise, this just isn't that kind of movie, is it? So instead...
Gig!
I was able to restore his operating system.
Woohoo! The robot lives. Happy ending. And more so than that, the dad comes in with the best lines a father can say.
I'm proud of you, son, because of what happened afterwards.
And of course, as the trope would go, he's still grounded for a month anyway.
You mean I've got the hottest car and I can't drive it?
It's now a bad time to say I don't think his car really looks that cool at all. It kind of looks like a dumbbell. I think it's supposed to evoke a surfboard in there, but it's just kind of tacky in my eyes. Looking like a bus compared to literally every other car in this movie. There's one background car with an exposed engine in it that I think looks way more interesting. Has a personality, you know?
But how about taking me for a spin first?
And so, in classic fashion, the movie ends with Vert and his dad strapping in and driving away from the Hot Wheels branded base out into the desert. And his dad, not knowing how to drive the expensive new car, decides to push a random button just to see what happens. That's safe.
Vert,
Ride away, Dad!
Glad he's in the military. As we end with Vert and his dad disappearing to Highway 35. And roll credit. Wait, is that Smash Mouth? Apparently it is! Hot from Smash Mouth. They really were all over the animation scene at this time, huh? 1 year after Shrek 1. And that was the terrible Hot Wheels World Race. Absolutely loaded with spectacle and had a lot of good ideas, but the execution was, well...
Greetings, the beginning.
For human beings.
I gotta give it some props for having a pretty distinct visual style though, even if it's narratively lacking a lot of substance in a lot of places. Probably because it was, at the end of the day, a giant Hot Wheels ad. But in his defense, it did a lot better than some other toy adaptations.
Stop lubricating the man.
And to be honest, I could fully understand if somebody absolutely adored this movie. It's got a lot of problems, but it's clearly made for a younger audience, and it's got a lot to offer. Even still though, the movie feels half-baked and the constant one-liners are grating. All of that to say, This movie is a beautiful mess, but it's also somehow iconic and great at the very same time. So it's one of those times where I call a movie terrible, but I think in a sort of loving way? I don't know if I'll put it in the title or not. Like, I think I'd love to see a movie try to pull off something similar to this nowadays, with a bigger budget and, of course, a more revised script. But there is something kinda decidedly cool about this movie, and I love car combat, and Speed Racer nails it, so the vibe is on point. It's cheesy as hell, and seriously ugly at times, but there's something about the character animation that does delight me a bit. And there are more movies to cover as well. And hey, if there ever was a redo of this plotline, maybe they'd actually let a female racer lead a team, or give Kurt better motivations. And maybe not name two characters Vert and Kurt, please, next time. But otherwise, I'd best finally end it off there. My name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do tell us your thoughts on this movie or similar things you would recommend. This very much feels like a movie that's spun off from a TV series, and I'd like to cover more TV-adjacent cartoony things. So give us any suggestions if you think anything fits the bill. But otherwise, I shall see you all in a little bit. Cheerio!